Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Weekends with Amit. There was a gap of a few weeks because of his commitments towards various educational programs. So he had to travel, and we could not make this episode in that time. But now he is stable in one place in Europe, and we are here with another exciting episode. Now, the subject of this episode is uh, relevant to mostly all people, or rather say a very large number of people, majority of the mankind, because we are going to talk about health and happiness in the old age. Now, those who are not yet there, be aware that there is no way you can stop aging. So we will be there. It would be good to understand how it works before you get there. And for people who are already there, wow, it's their time. So allow me to invite Professor Amit Goswami and Dr. Valentina Onisar. A very, very warm welcome to both of you. Hope you are doing well.
Thank you, Krishanu. Yes, good.
Wonderful. Great. So, the subject that we have for today after this break is health and happiness in the old age. Now, this is a subject which would have implications for a lot of people, and I am personally very interested to learn about it. So, why don't you start, Professor Goswami, with your views?
Well, yes, this is a very relevant subject because everybody has to get old sometime or other. Of course, subject technically, by the way, is called gerontology, in case you haven't heard that particular word. Um, uh, and gerontology can be spoken of very objectively. Then you talk about things like, what is the major health concern of old age, and it varies between men and women. Apparently, men contract heart disease and cancer much more than women, and women contract, this may surprise you, Alzheimer disease much more than men. And you ask me why? Very easy to answer that. There is a brain difference between men and women that makes women more concentrate on emotions. Men, on the other hand, suppress emotions and concentrate more on the intellect. So, what happens is that for men, the center of consciousness usually is the head, whereas for women, center for consciousness is usually the heart. That does not mean that head does not get its usual due, that it gets for everybody living in today's culture. But women still, most women consider themselves as what in psychology terminology of enneagrams is called the heart personality. Men, on the other hand, are head personality. So in this way, we can talk about, okay, so men have this health problem, means chronic disease of the nature that we hear about. People die mostly of heart disease and cancer. And for women, those things are much, much less. Alzheimer. Why? Because they don't use the brain much. Why for men, heart disease, cancer? Because they don't center on the heart very much. If you don't center on the heart, your immune system start malfunctioning, lack of love. As you know, the more recent story we talked about, how men get lonely because they avoid intimacy. All that is connected with this. But women are not lonely. So, they have relationships. And often love comes with it. And therefore, they don't suffer from this heart related, immune system related disease. Whereas for women, too, there is a problem. They avoid the head oftentimes, especially the kind of head things that brings you meaning and purpose. And those are surefire way of getting Alzheimer, because part of the reason that we get Alzheimer, you just hear about plaques that develop, amyloid beta protein, neurons, and other stuff all the time. But that's not all of it. Much of it is because you are not using the cortex properly. Proper use of cortex is to explore meaning and purpose. And that is what, generally speaking, you don't do if you are not intellectually oriented. So that's one way of talking about it. But that's not the only way of talking about it. The reason we decided to choose this subject, Valentina and I, was because, we are a team of researchers who actively are researching the subject of gerontology. This is a challenging subject, especially for me, because I am 86 and a half, going towards 87. And so it's a direct challenge for me. Valentina's role is a little different. She is at an age, you don't mind telling your age, Valentina, do you?
Okay.
She's 46, and her main challenge is how to make the right choice at the midlife. Of course, she has already made it. I'm just talking tongue in cheek. Made it in the sense that she, of course, has a wonderful lifestyle according to quantum worldview. And this lifestyle should guarantee health and happiness. This is what we want to really talk about. But look, it's a personal experience. So just today, this morning, it just so happens that I had to keep some doctor's appointment because there was some complaints, this and that. I won't bore you with the details. But Valentina, as you know, is the physician. And in this case, the physician takes to other physicians because these physicians are specialists, and they work, they don't work, and I'm always complaining the whole time and moaning and groaning, and she's just handling it very beautifully. So when it came to choosing the title, we thought that, okay, so this is part of it. If you cannot handle it at old age, then it is moaning and groaning all the time, and then you die because you cannot get yourself inspired. In fact, I am very prone to theorizing. All these things that you hear about in the mystical literature, that people are always lamenting, where is God? Where is God? Because it is very easy to see from my point of view as an old man, as the fact of when I moan and groan, it's precisely because God is not with me. I'm not inspired. If I'm inspired, then I'm working on my research and I talk about gerontology objectively. But when I'm not inspired, then is the moan and groan. And of course, we are laughing about it now, but believe me, 4 hours ago, I was just boring Valentina to, I don't know, I would be on the verge of bursting out in anger if I were in her shoes, but she being heart-centered, handled it just calmly and coolly. So that gives you an idea of what quantum worldview can give us as a gift. By the way, as she will tell you better than I can, I don't always moan and groan, then I would not be talking to you about this. So something in quantum worldview is there that prevents all this talk. What is it is really the subject. That's why we come to happiness. Happiness in quantum worldview is an expansion of consciousness, very different from pleasure, which is molecular. Brain emits molecules like dopamine and oxytocin and others, and these molecules bring a very likable sensing feeling that we call pleasure. But it's very different in quality than happiness. Pleasure lasts only until the molecules last. Happiness, on the other hand, is an expansion of consciousness, and it does fade away. But once you have it for quite a while. And once you get the knack of how to have it, then you have it. And that's the, in a way, goal of life, because one way to have it is to engage with meaning and purpose. Of course, love gives plenty of that too. I mentioned that before, but I did not want to demean women by any means, because if you are into love, then you are also into meaning and purpose. But that's not enough for the brain. That's what I meant in the earlier comment. So, in this way, what uh, uh, amounts to is that meaning, purpose, love, this kind of thing brings us that expansion of consciousness, that inspiration, what ancient people used to call it the presence of God in our life. If we can live that way, then we would be healthy and happy. And, my experiences, Valentina will vouch for it. The experts were all pretty positive on me. They did say that I'm pretty healthy, no particular problem. And to be this way and happy most of the time, following quantum worldview seems like a good idea. I hope you accept it. What does it mean to follow quantum worldview? It just means ideas that are simple: ability to love, ability to be happy. Basically, we call it a kind of non-local connectivity, ability to connect with each other, non-locally. How can I connect with each other non-locally? Like, am I connecting with you, the listener, right now? Yes, I am connecting. Why? Because I feel inspired. I hope you can sense this inspiration. That's what it's about. We hear inspirational teachers, inspirational lecturers, actors, because they expand while they're, even the actors. The good actors don't act when they're acting inspired. You know, they really become inspired. That's the trick of becoming a good actor versus a bad actor who just goes through the machinations. Very important difference. So don't act happy. That will get you nowhere. Today is we act everything. We pretend. We pretend love. We pretend. No, pretension does not get you anywhere. You really have to be it. You have to do it. You have to connect with people. And that is this really the source of health and happiness in old age. When do you make the decision that you're going to connect with people and not live isolated, not live lonely? You make that in your midlife. Let Valentina speak more of the midlife than I, because she is right into the midlife. Valentina?
Right. Yeah, indeed, it is a beautiful subject and a practical subject for everybody, I think. And since it's called health and happiness at old age, and actually it makes you wonder what is old age, because again, some people can be old at a very young age, actually, and some others can be very young at very old age. And indeed, as a doctor, and family medicine practitioner and so many other specialties, I'm impressed, very much impressed with all that I discovered doing all kind of laboratory tests and echography and all kind of things. So everybody was really impressed with Amit's health. And even in Brazil, we met a team that we will open to extend our collaboration with Brazil with, and they have all kind of this most recent developed technologies, in measuring even vital energies and stuff. And all of them, they were very much kind of shocked, with the state of harmony that came out of, doing all these tests with Amit's blood and all that, and with mine also, but still his was better, I have to say that. And anyway, so both of us had much better results than 99% probably of the people they examined. No exaggeration. That's what they said, And they were also wondering why, how can it be? Because indeed, we live not an easy life, because we are traveling a lot, really, really a lot. And we have to adapt very easily, very quickly to all the situations, to all the peoples. It's like really working with people from various planets. People are so different from one person to the other. And of course, there's a toll on the body, and we do what we can, and still after some time you may feel something, especially on the vitality. And for me, when I'm thinking of health and also happiness, the first thing I'm thinking of is this vitality, So, and then obviously the Tibetan tradition, the Hindu tradition, they brought this term about the vital body. And that's why when we think of acupuncture, Chinese medicine, and also Ayurveda and the others, but especially these ones, the first ones, it's really interesting how things really work and can be helped. Because after, for example, if you're very tired, whether it's due to travels or too much intellectual work, which again can be something to really eat your vitality, but it can be like a syndrome kind of similar to that chronic fatigue syndrome, which again, you may do tests and you may not find something there, and you need to know how to work with that. And then, of course, you're not working with allopathy anymore at that stage. But again, the possibility is there. Now, when we think of mental, emotional health and the challenges that come with that, especially, again, if you have this kind of life and you need to adjust, especially from the perspective of what is called Vata dosha, you also know, this challenge of mental health is also one of conscious control. But from my experience, you cannot do that unless, again, your vitality is okay. But if we have a certain conscious control, which has to come on the background of inspiration and motivation also, and while you know that you're really you're on the path of doing your dharma and following your archetypes, and you have a meaning and purpose in your life, and you still need all these things, again, if we develop a certain conscious control over how we behave in some situations under various stimuli, you are kind of in harmony, let's say. But if not, it can become a bit neurotic, And then it's also very good to learn how to laugh, laugh of yourself, or it's even better when you have somebody to laugh with, So that's what I'm doing many times. When these last days, when Amit said that he was a bit, not so easy, it's not true. Like it was good, but just many times I'm just looking at him and kind of imitating what he's complaining about, and then it's good because we are laughing, and you see how that is just something which you're not, kind of. And anyway, it's even said that everyone is at least a little bit neurotic, right? And when you think of positive mental health, then you see that people have positive mental health when, instead of this personal unconscious, the quantum unconscious, which is the domain of potentiality beyond our personal and collective unconscious, it takes over when this quantum unconsciousness, they takes over some of the causal authority over our conscious behavior. And there can be neurosis, but neurotic episodes can keep getting shorter and shorter eventually. And right, the same, of course, stands for the entire society nowadays. Still, the question remains that what can make people grow older and wiser, because indeed we have a lot of theory, which definitely is there, but the fact is that when you have to live it, it's getting even more interesting. Because lacking that, lacking this understanding how to grow older and wiser, at least what can be like a guarantee for the elderly quality of life, and eventually later death with dignity in one case. So again, question about really what is longevity for. And these factors, quality of life and longevity, obviously they are related. So there is a lot of evidence nowadays that when you live a purposive life, it can lead to an increased longevity. But still, as I mentioned, there's always going to be a need of a good planning, to continue to have constant inspiration and constant motivation, and to really be able to practice non-locality, I would say, and also be in nature and connected with Earth, since in this life we are on this beautiful planet, instead of being all the time really bogged down because of technology. You know, technology is really something. It's offering us good chances to be in a way present all over the world, but in the same time, if you are trapped and really just use it because you're tired and you want to relax with the movie instead of going out, for example, and see the other kind of relaxation that nature provides. So there are a lot of choices that have to be done intelligently and in a team. You know, being alone in old age, it's not a good choice, I think. You know, so again, we need to plan since midlife, kind of these times. You know? And again, there are the tasks that you can even read in our book. We just published a book on medicine. Maybe the team will post the cover of the book here. You can find it already in English and Portuguese. So you find there a chapter on gerontology, and also the tasks are quite clear because the tasks are to help people to grow old and wise, which starts again with from the midlife transition. That's when you have to prepare for old age. I'm telling you for sure. I can see on my body and on everything. So you see the development, but you can also see the challenges, and you have to work on them since midlife. You know, if you want to be well in old age, right? And it has to be definitely a program that involves the embodiment of the archetypes using manifestation and creativity, and starting with vital creativity. If you don't start it, you just try to make it from the mental level, is not going to work. So we call it quantum yoga of soul making. And then, of course, sometimes we may even contract all kind of chronic diseases because of past lifestyle abuse, maybe, or even this lifestyle abuse. And then it will be even more difficult for a motivation to get a healthy lifestyle, you know, to eat properly, to drink properly. All these things have to be there as well, but also learn to engage with vital creativity. Actually, I mean, I had the patients which were even I mean, Amit is awesome. It's obviously my best friend and also collaborator, but also he's a good patient, you know. I have to say it's not so difficult to work together, and of course learning from him, but also he's a good patient, I have to say. He's practicing at his age, and also I had other patients which even by the age of 80, yeah, they were really able to develop this vital body. And now, I mean, now to take you to the base of what I mean by vital creativity, if in your life there is no juice, you know, then obviously you have to ask yourself more seriously, because in the yogic tradition, when we call it Kundalini Shakti, all this potential that we have, and is represented metaphorically speaking at the base of the spine in a coiled, snake coiled form. So when Kundalini Shakti is at least partially awakened, more than usually, we suddenly get out of banal, you know, and life gets more depth and savor, and we really start experiencing, like, we feel like we are reborn. So and otherwise our inner state and life, the quality, the intensity are not so good, you know. So it's something to meditate about, you know, and try to find systems that can help you with that. You know, it's an alchemical path that really continues, and if you want to keep regenerating and even rejuvenating, it is about Kundalini Shakti. But now again, what the question is, what to do when you're at an old age and you didn't know about various practices which again exist in various traditions. Still, it is pity to be in this life and to live without experiencing these things. So at least there's a very strong intent should be there, because there's so much mystery and so much beauty in being a human, you know. So, and then again, so there are these two categories, you know, when people age gracefully and with knowledge, with experiences, and of course, people who are already not so healthy since midlife and they don't do anything, but that's not our case. So it is a very beautiful and challenging, but more beautiful arena here, quantum gerontology, all these questions about longevity and how to outline a quantum integrative health strategy for everyone. And by the way, we can mention that we have already a list of quantum health practitioners that is available on our website if you'll check there. So, Amit?
Yeah, you are right. So we have a website, cqedu.com. It will be there on your screen, and you can check out the practitioners there, the counselors, consultants there, who can help you in various ways. In what ways, that is also mentioned. So if you think you need some assistance, we are there for you. People are there for you. You can definitely look them up. Now, this idea of Kundalini Shakti and the way people who have already reached that stage without experiencing or without those practices, of course, it's a little bit tough for them, but they still have hope. It's not that it's hopeless. So maybe Professor Goswami will like to add on to some of that.
Thank you, Krishanu. So, let me also remind you of the 5 bodies of the human being. If you think that health is only the concern of the physical body, you are grossly mistaken. The diseases that we mainly suffer from in old age are very telling. The 3 that I mentioned, parental explicated, cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer, or dementia, guess what? They're all in the class of what we call chronic disease or mind-body disease. Mind plays a huge role. In fact, if you really put your attention to it, it's emotion that play really a huge role. Mental meaning and also vital feeling. Vital feeling gets blocked, like love. Blocking of love messes up the immune system. That's heart disease and cancer. And then there's also blocking of vital energy in the head and meaning. That's where some of the cause is. The cortex does not take quantum leaps anymore. No meaning, no purpose, dementia. So that's the story. What do we do then? We take care of all the bodies. That's the decision that you make in midlife. See, when we are young, like, we grow until about 20 to 25. Body just grows, brain also. And then we have a steady state for a while. Declining, but very, very slowly. That's what we call youth culture. This is what we have every country now getting into the youth culture that started more in America. Youth culture. Everybody admired the youth culture of America. Youth culture is when we eat hamburgers and when we drink Diet Coke and when we do all kinds of atrocities. I didn't even mention any of the vices, drinking and all those happiness producing addictions that people talk about. That's when we do all that and we get away with it. We get away with it because we are only thinking of the physical body. What is hurting? The first thing, spiritual disconnection. What is hurting? Second thing, lack of meaning. What is hurting? Third thing, vital energy blocks at the chakras. You don't even know about it. And then in midlife, you start getting heart attack, coronary. I had it myself. I went through that same lifestyle because at that time, I didn't discover quantum worldview and its power. So I lived very much like how ordinary people live. Coronary bypass surgery. 6 arteries were blocked. That was 1996. The pain of it, the time it took to recover. And then the doctors tell you that you have only a few years to live. So what do you do? Only thing you can do is to, at that time, accept it, that we are more than the physical body, and change lifestyle. Midlife is made for changing lifestyle. This is what midlife transition is about. If we make the change in lifestyle, then healthy life, Well, of course, some mourning and glory will be there at old age because, yes, inspiration don't come as often as people would like to be, but they do come. If you are into meaning, if you are into love, they do come more often than not. If you have blocked those things, then you are blocked. It shows up at various personality disorder, which allopathic approach to health says we cannot even treat that. Personality disorder. You become, we talk about schizoid personality in one of the past webinars. You may have listened to it with amusement. But yes, intellectuals become schizoid personality. They're so schizo from the inner world, they completely avoid it, all in the outer world. That's one way to be. That's the men's way. And that way, heart disease and cancer, that awaits you. And the other way, of course, is not so bright either. As I said, for women, heart is alive very much, but the problem is you become dependent on others because the naval self is not awake. Again, not taking care of the vital body. Much of it is in the navel as well as in the heart. So you have to take care of both the heart and the navel organs, those chakras. People don't. That shows up in that neediness, dependency, and avoiding avoiding meaning and purpose in life. That's not so good either. What's the lesson? Let's take care of all the bodies, beginning with the spirit, the connection with others. That's the spirit. You never lose it. That's the source of inspiration. Then come to mind. Yes, we continue some exercise of the intellect, meaning rational mind is not all bad. And then we come to vital. If we have positive emotions, vital energy blocks can be completely avoided. That's what we do with quantum yoga. Then finally, the physical. And the physical will not complain much at all. There will be some normal wear and tear. Yes, there is an effect called Hefflick effect that nobody can avoid. At least you haven't found any way of avoiding it so far. But maybe in the future we shall. People are talking about increasing longevity, and we have found some evidence for that. We shall see how much of advancing age, healthy way, can we really live up to 150 in a healthy way? That would be nice, though. But all this depends on your crucial decision at midlife. Please decide in favor of changing your lifestyle to one of connectivity. And that connectivity not only through heart, but also through your head. Thank you.
That was awesome. Yes, connectivity, all these bodies, the nourishment of all these bodies actually makes the total effect so prominent. As Valentina was describing, that in Brazil, uh, Professor Goswami's details or statistics or test results were off the charts, like more than 19, better than 99% of the population. That's staggering. And those who know him personally would vouch for the fact what he is talking is he is just walking the talk. So that's an example in front of our eyes. So thank you so much for being here. But before we depart, along with this consultation page that we have also started taking admissions for our master's and PhD courses in quantum science of health, prosperity, and happiness. The details are on your screen. Please feel free to connect to us. We'll give you all the details necessary. And this is a wonderful course. You'll get to know a lot about it when you inquire. Thank you so much and for being with us. Thank you, Professor Goswami and Dr. Anisar. See you next week.